I'm Saturn, and the Death Note movie sucks. This is going to be more of a rant video than a clear, concise commentary, because I don't have the time nor patience to write out a full script, so this is what you're getting. My qualifications are currently being hyperfixated on Death Note. I suffered through this movie, so you don't have to. Meow. This is Pepper. He's a cat. You want to stay for this face. You want to stay for this face. Look at his face. Death Note is the story of a boy, Light Yagami, who finds a Death Note after it falls into a schoolyard. He's already fed up with the world and finds that there is injustice on every corner, thinking the world could do slightly better without all these horrible people. Light is top of his class, top of the country even. Very successful, to loving parents, a stable home, stable money. He's got a good life. Now, once he stumbles upon this notebook, he doesn't take it seriously at first. At first, he thinks it's just a weird prank. He tries it out, and it turns out it actually works. He kills more and more people. He realizes the power that he has and decides he needs to cleanse the world of all evil and criminals and become God. So that's just kind of what we're working with, right? Now, Death Note is an anime. Okay, so it takes place in Japan. And a lot of the reason for how L originally finds the fact that Light could be Kira is because he lives in Japan. Now, he recognizes first that a lot of the criminals being killed come from Japan. That's where it starts, and that's where most of them are. He eventually branches onto like all over the world, but he starts in Japan because that's where he is, that's what his local news is, that's where he's aware of criminals and such. L is able to track down the fact that Kira is likely from Japan. He then broadcasts a video of this death row inmate named Lindell Taylor. He only broadcasts it to certain regions in Japan. He started with the Kanto region where Light lives, and luckily enough, Light kills Lindell Taylor, and L figures out that's where he is. Now, the L in this movie follows a similar strategy. He doesn't exactly explain how he got to the conclusion of Kira being in Seattle, but Light is the main character, and he's the moody underdog, so why wouldn't he be from Seattle? My biggest problem with this movie is the mischaracterization. All of these characters are very dumb. The only sane one seems to be L, which is pretty normal, but Light sucks at being Kira. Whenever he fucks up, it falls upon his girlfriend, Mia Sutton, to save the day and save Light from suspicion. We start off by seeing Light. He's sitting alone on a bench doing homework for other students. He's listening to music, being solitary. He's your average, underdog. Oh, I'm so sad, root for me. After finding the Death Note, he puts it in his bag, and it's raining, so he's going to run inside. He sees a kid getting bullied, and Mia's there for some reason, and she's just like, hey, knock it off, stop beating up that kid. Also, by the way, I thought I should add this. She's the girl from The Substance. The Substance came out after I first watched the movie, so I looked it up, and that's her. Her wiki page is weird, though, because they don't list The Substance, the Oscar-nominated film, as one of her well-known projects, but I'm getting off track. He stands up and he's like, you were held back, so you're an adult. You can't hit me, that's child abuse. Who is this? This is not my Light. Who is this boy with frosted tips think he is? Light that I know. Stop in the country, okay? Country. Very popular, okay? Does not give a gaff about bullying, okay? First episode, watches a kid get harassed for money. He just looks over and he's like, oh, the world would be so much better without a guy like him. And then just focus back on his work. He does not care. He does not care about people. He does not care. He does not care. He only cares about becoming God and killing criminals. That's it. He does not give a gaff, okay? He's had the bit of a God complex since before he got the Death Note. He was already saying, world would be so much better if we didn't have these evil people. But Light Turner, might I add, his last name is Turner. He's the main character. You couldn't come up with a better last name? Turner? Turner? Really? This guy's killing over 400 people and you're calling him Turner? Light Turner? His last name originally was Yagami. The real Light, the Light that I love and know and cherish. His name is so edgy and I love him for it. His name is like Moon Night God. You know, it's Moon Night God. Alright? That's Moon Night God. That's Moon Night God. Night God. Night God. After that, he gets sent to detention for, you know, helping kids cheat by doing their homework, something the real Light would never fucking do. Goes to detention for like 2 weeks or something. Mind you, he has a death note at this point. He hasn't written down any names. Ryuk shows up. Originally, Ryuk doesn't show up until Light has already written like a bunch of names. He's played by Willem Dafoe. Like, his voice is provided by Willem Dafoe, which I love that. His voice is so perfect. He has the laugh down perfectly. Like, it is a very good choice. However, they basically make Ryuk like evil. Not like evil, but like evil. So he convinces Light to write a name in the book. There's this kid outside named Kenny, and he's like, hey, Light, you should kill this guy. He's a bad guy. You should kill him. And then Light's like, okay. So he just writes the name down, and he's just like, how about you go a little further? And Light's just like, okay, decapitation. And then his just head explodes. I mean, it's like more of a Final Destination, Rube Goldberg, or whatever it's freaking called. He gets decapitated by a ladder. What a way to go. What? Look at that. Look at that boy. Look at him. This is what Death Note, the anime, looks like. That's what that looks like. That... Whoop. Don't you attack me, bitch. When Light sees Ryuk for the first time, he screams like a bitch. Not my Light, okay? Moon Night God? Light Turner. Moon Night God. Light Turner. Then, when he gets home, he realizes the power that he has, and because his mom's dead, for some reason, he's gotta have a dead mom. You gotta have a dead mom. That's what happens in movies. Your mom's dead, and Chris Pratt plays an animated character. After killing that guy, his dad comes into the room, and he's like, hey, Light, the guy that killed your mom is dead. The next day, he's at school. He just has the Death Note out, open to the world. He just has it sitting in his lap. He's just reading it in the middle of like gym class. Mia, not Misa. She's basically the stand-in for Misa, except she's nothing like Misa. She basically walks up to Light and she's like, hey, what's that? And he's like, oh, nothing. And she's like, Death Note, because she can read it, because Light is stupid and not Moon Night God. And she's like, oh, what's that? And he's like, ooh, that's how I kill people. Light, honey, not the Moon Night God of my life. What are you doing? You can't just tell this girl you basically just met that you have a book that kills people. He like takes her into the cafeteria and he's like, look, I'll show you, it's real. So he just literally Googles live crime scene. What? Okay. He kills the guy that was like holding a woman hostage, which is the actual first kill that Moon Night God does. And she's just like, oh, wow, we could change so many lives with this. Let's go to your home and make out. And the scene continues of them killing people. It's just weird because it's just interrupted by them kissing. Like, he's just writing the Death Note, trying to find people to kill. You should not. And they just have sex. Just cuz. It's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. Anyway, moving on. One tiny thing that I don't like about Ryuk, in the anime, he eats the core of the apples. Movie, he does not. Ryuk is not wasteful, bro. Ryuk reuse, reduce, recycles. He eats that apple. He eats it right to the core, bro. At one point, Light hands Mia the Death Note. This is right before he shows her he can kill. And he's like, okay, Ryuk is gonna be scary. Turn around, just be prepared. And she can't see him. If you touch the Death Note, you can see the Shinigami. It comes to the deaths that Kira did. Instead of just doing heart attacks over and over and over again, he wrote different deaths each time, which doesn't make much sense, because the main reason they started to realize something was wrong and somebody was responsible for all these deaths was because copious amounts of people were having heart attacks, and they were all criminals, and it was a connected thing. And that's when L got on the case. That's when people started following Kira, and he got his name, Kira. In the movie, they just see all of these deaths, and the only way they know that it's Kira is because he has to make them right in their own blood, like, Kira is God. Kira is our Lord and Savior, Moon Knight God. The first time he writes to show it's a supernatural force rather than just a natural one, he has some death row inmates write in perfect Japanese, like, Lord Kira is blah 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 blah. I wasn't paying attention because I was so annoyed by the fact that can't happen. When a victim is killed by the Death Note, the user can decide if they do any certain actions before they die. Now, with these actions, it has to be within the realm of possibility for that person. So if they are in France, they can't die in Japan. If they don't know calculus, they can't do an equation right before they die. Moon Knight God, the real Light, did experiments to see what the limits were. And he found it out by having them say different things, but it wasn't successful because they didn't know. Now, having them write in perfect Japanese when they didn't know Japanese is incorrect. They can't do that. Later, L comes on, and it's not a full-on task force, it's really just L and then Light's dad. We're just gonna call him Mr. Turner because that's what they call him. He doesn't have a first name. I just couldn't come up with a good enough English supplement. After that, Light's dad comes home and Light asks him about the Kira case and if they have figured anything out about him yet. You know, just to be not suspicious at all. Like, hey, do you know anything about the Kira case? From me, your son, that could never be Kira. This is about where I stopped when I watched the movie for the first time. So, bye. Not actually. One detail is that during all these like sequence of news reports and, you know, people getting killed and Light and Mia having sex for no reason, they mentioned how criminals are starting to turn themselves in to avoid getting killed by Kira. This should do nothing. Apparently it did something for Light, but for the real Moon Knight God, it's not going to do anything. He still kills them, whether or not they are in jail. As we see with some of his more early deaths, we see a whole sequence of these like men in a row, and multiple are getting heart attacks and they're clearly in jail. So he does not care if they're already incarcerated. He's gonna kill them. He wants a perfect world. He will get rid of every criminal. He only kills criminals, right? As we know, so Mia shows him a site created by some of Kira's followers. It's like a database of all of these people who are bad and deserve to die. At first, Light is like, well, we don't know if these people are actually criminals or not, because it could just be some guy puts his girlfriend on there because she cheated on him. And then Mia is like, well, you would kill a guy if he had sex with me. And he was like, yeah, no, you would not. I fear you could not. You would not, because that is not Moon Knight God. Moon Knight God is smart. Moon Knight God is good at tennis. Moon Knight God is probably gay. Moon Knight God is amazing. Okay, and you're Light Turner. Your last name is Turner. You shouldn't even be killing people. They can't be like, oh yeah, Kira's real name is Light Turner. They'll be like, cool first name, but what's with the last name? The last name's shit. Alright, he's gonna lose like half of his followers. He's gonna be like, Lord Kira? Your last name's Turner? I don't know anymore, man. Eventually, we meet L. He is a lot better character-wise. I feel like the actor actually watched the original show because he captures the voice and mannerisms very well. Will's common thing is that he like bites his nails, but instead they just have him scratching his neck, which I understand it translates better, but I don't know. I have the feeling that that actor wanted to do more with Elle. He did a good job, and I feel like Elle was the only one they kind of did justice to. But then again, I am an Elle lover, and I am this movie's biggest hater. So Watari is just Watari. That's his name. His name is just Watari. He's not Quillish Whammy. He did not form the Whammy house. Instead, Elle is from Rochester or whatever, and it was like this orphanage, and he joined when he was like 6, and then after he left, Watari take care of him, and it was formed by somebody else, which is just not correct. One of my favorite parts is when I kept saying when I was on call with my friend while watching this. Light's dad says, got some handler called Watari. Anyway, they have the FBI follow Light, blah blah blah. Instead of him killing them, it's Mia that kills them. Mr. Turner's like, what? You can't have the FBI going after my son. That's my son. But in the show, he was still like apprehensive about it, but he wasn't like about to pull up them dukes with Elle. He was just kind of like, if this is what it takes to prove my son's innocence, I'm willing to do it. After the FBI dies, Light thinks that Ryuk did it instead of Mia. And so he yells at him, and he's like, why would you do that? And then he's like, oh, and then Light's like, I'm gonna kill you. And then Ryuk is like, well, you can try, but I'll kill you first. Do you want to know what that implies? That implies that Ryuk can die by the Death Note. He can't! A Shinigami can only be killed if they save a human. If a human's lifespan is about to end, and they save them from whatever is causing their death, it causes them to die, and their lifespan is added on to the human's life. That is how a Shinigami can die. That is the only way a Shinigami can die. This note just says, you suck at being Kira. That's because it's true. Mr. Turner goes on TV and also challenges Kira. It was like said by Elle, like he didn't say it, but like implied that it was his plan because Light's dad is so incompetent. He challenges Kira, and Light's there with his girlfriend, and she's just like, well, we should kill her. Kill her? Sorry. Trans rights and all, but that's not correct. We should kill him. And obviously Light's like, no, we can't kill my dad. I don't know if I want to say that's in character or not. It could be debated. After this, Elle figures out, because, you know, Light's dad doesn't die, that Light is Kira. So he confronts him in a cafe, and Light is reading this book that has like pictures of Ryuk in it, like from all across history, which just makes no sense. They don't elaborate on this. He's just reading it, and they just never come back to it. Elle accuses him of being Kira like super loudly in the middle of a cafe. They have their little argument, and then Light goes back home. He's like running through the rain, and his girlfriend is on the steps, and he like yells at her, and she's like, he's like, it's my dad, or whatever. He's like yelling about it, and I'm like, did she kill his dad? Why are we not hearing about this? And she's like, well, I would take it back if I could. I would take it back if I could. I was like, a man's dead. Couple scenes later, he's alive. They're talking. They're having a chat. Oh, might I add, right after this, when I thought, you know, Mr. Turner was dead, she's just like, oh, I take it back if I could. I love you. And they start making out again. Because what are you gonna do? Anyway, Mr. Turner's alive and well, just very stupid. Light, Mia, and Mr. Turner are all having a conversation at the dinner table, and then Elle just breaks in and is like, hey, your son is Kira, and you're really stupid for not realizing that sooner. Mr. Turner's just like, oh, I'll kill you, get out of my house, I'll kill you. The reason he comes in such a hurry is because Watari is missing. Light previously had planned his death so that he would go to the house in which Elle used to live, find his true name, and then call Light and tell him. So Watari went from Seattle to Rochester, almost found the true name, of L, but then was shot to death because Light didn't burn the page in time for the death to be reversed. L is like crying and screaming about Watari being gone. In the show, when spoilers, when L dies, before he dies, he's aware that he's going to die soon. So I mean, he has a conversation with Watari and prepares Watari for what he should do if he were to die. So he was not as shocked when Watari died, but I feel like if it just happened randomly, he would be a lot more confused. I don't think he would be as angry as how the L got in the movie. But I do like that L had more of a connection with Watari, rather than just kind of seeming like he's his butler. He was more of a father figure, which I did like. The end of the movie was so far removed from the anime that I didn't have any critiques about it because it just felt so different. So it wasn't just like, oh, this isn't what happened, this happened instead. It pulls out the page that has Watari's name and death and etc., etc., so that Light can't destroy it before Watari can die. Instead, she writes Light's name in the death note, and she's just like, hey, if you don't give me the death note so I can burn your name, you're gonna die. Obviously, he doesn't want to die, so he writes her name in the death note. The plan was they were gonna go to the Ferris wheel, gonna go to the top, and if Mia accepted the notebook from Light, she would fall out of the Ferris wheel, and so would he. He would fall into the water, and she would fall onto the shore, killing her instantly, leaving Light alive. However, this is a Ferris wheel. This is a rather big Ferris wheel, pretty tall, okay? If Light were to fall into the water, all of his bones would break. At a height like that, at a speed like that, the water basically becomes oobleck, okay? You go smack. You don't fall gently into the water and like, you know, you smack. Names of some criminals that help retrieve him and the death note and bring it to him and then let them die. He goes into like a medically induced coma for 2 days, and then his dad comes in and is like, hey, how did you do it? And he's like, well, I'll tell you how I did it. And then he tells him how he did it. At the very end, Elle finds the page that was torn out in Light's room, and right before we cut to credits, he hesitates to write. We don't know if he writes or not. But I don't think he does, because that is out of character for Elle, and that would really suck. Because that's not Elle, that's not my Elle. I do like the Elle a lot more. One little thing, is that there was like a car chase scene where like, it was just like really intense for like no reason. Like Elle was driving the car, and I don't doubt that he could drive a car, because in the anime he was able to pilot a helicopter, and using his intuition he could probably figure out how to drive a car, and since he was being reckless, it didn't even really matter what rules of the road he was following. It felt kind of out of place. There's just a lot of like out of place. None of their leitmotifs were used. You know, the very classic do 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 do, and then the whatever it is, I can't remember exactly. Like, even the musical can add their leitmotifs in. The musical's a lot better. You should listen to the soundtrack. It's very underrated. I haven't found any English slime tutorials for it, but I'm sure there's ones for Japanese or Korean or whatever it is, I can't remember. That's basically it. I feel like it would have been okay if they used the same like rules of the Death Note and just had it be a different person other than Light. I feel like the fact that they tried to keep Light kind of ruined it. Because in the past there have been other owners of the Death Note, and they all have their one-off stories, their one-shots or whatever. And I think that they could have utilized that fact and had it be after the original Kira killings, because in the anime those happened in like the 2000s, and this clearly takes place late 2000s. It dies in like 2010, I believe. The story would be a lot better if they just had it not be Light and it was just somebody else. Didn't have L and instead had Nier. And if they made Ryuk not, like, if they properly characterized Ryuk as just wanting fun. Like, he comes back town, he drops his Death Note again, and is like, I've been bored, it's been a while since I've had some fun, and drops it down, and somebody finds it. And this time it's in America. And it, like, is a little harder for Nier to pinpoint it down because of access to the internet. So if he's killing criminals from everywhere, you're not gonna know where he's from, you know? Just make it a little bit more difficult, more tricky, because there's just so many things that could be added on because of just, like, the new age, I guess. I think as just, like, a standalone by itself, if you haven't watched the series originally, it's okay. It's definitely not, like, the best movie in the world, but it's okay. It is just a movie, I guess. It's not like horrible, it's not good, it's just okay. It's very Percy Jackson movies. Like, if you've read the book, you're gonna hate the movie. That's just kind of how it is, but as a standalone, it's okay. I think that is it. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. If you don't enjoy the video, let me know. I don't care. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell, you know, like I gotta do all things. Yeah, that's it.